soon as a new video drop. Now coming to design, the Realme 2 Pro is a departure from all the previous Realme phones visually. The materials used are still plastic, but they've been used in a very premium way. The back has this 2.5D curved glass finish and it looks really stunning. It's still plastic though, and the scratches are an indication of that. But it still doesn't look bad and it feels a lot more premium than most phones in this price range. It also produces a very unique pattern when light reflects. This is a result of very complex process that Realme follows with a 13 to 15 layer lamination, and it clearly shows. It looks much more premium than any of the phones around. The sides are also made up of plastic with a matte finish very similar to the Realme 2. Although here the lack of metal does make things feel a bit cheaper. I would have definitely liked to see a metal frame, but that would have rocketed the phone's price into a more premium segment. Plus the more expensive Oppo F9 Pro still uses plastic, so I don't think I can complain here. Now at the back we see a very sizable camera bump, but Realme has apparently kept the borders of the camera bump higher, which means that the glass would never touch the ground or a surface and would not get damaged at all. The bottom has a headphone jack, a micro USB port and a single speaker grill. Now the speaker grill is quite loud, the sound was crisp. I didn't experience any noise either. It is still a single speaker and it fires downwards. I am not really a fan of that, and I guess manufacturers could work on this and make at least the placement a little better. I know that it's difficult to put stereo speakers in a phone, but if you could find a different place for it, somehow innovate a place that doesn't make the sound muffled because it's very easy to block this as soon as you hold the phone when you're playing a game. It's very easy to block the speaker, so I hope manufacturers come out with a better position to put a single speaker on a phone. The headphone jack output on the other hand is quite good. The volume levels are very high and the sound output is better than what I expected from this phone or a phone at this price. I was able to resolve different instruments in a 16-piece jazz band and I was able to hear each and every instrument clearly. The sound is a bit warm when compared to audio power machines like the LG G7 Plus and doesn't sound as good as the Vivo Nex when compared, but the Realme 2 Pro sounds really good for its price. The buttons are on the right and the left side, so the power button on the right, the volume buttons on the left, and they are quite clicky. I am also liking that the volume buttons are separated, so just feel the smaller the better. The bottom chin also has been reduced to a great extent. So here we have an LCD display with very thin bezels. So I am really impressed with the quality of the panel that the Realme 2 Pro has implemented here. The screen is covered with Corning Gorilla Glass, although I can't seem to find what version has been used. It does come pre-installed with a very high quality screen protector, and that fortunately also doesn't hinder the touch experience. So I'll advise to keep that on, and it is actually quite high quality. This is the same that comes with the Oppo F9 Pro, and if you remove that you'll feel how thick that screen protector is. So if you have one installed on your phone, don't get that out. The display also didn't show any signs of light bleeding. There isn't any color shift, and the color temperature is quite accurate. Now I say quite accurate because it isn't exactly accurate when it comes out of the box, but you get obviously a color temperature glider which helps you change the color temperature of the phone, and with slight change of that slider you can get that very close to a color accurate white. And plus, talking about brightness, again a very bright display. This was one of the complaints that we had with the Realme 1, where the display wasn't really bright. So great viewing angles, great colors, good detail, very good brightness level. So if you're someone who wants a very good looking display on their phone, then the Realme 2 Pro is a close-eyed buy at this price. Now the software inside is called ColorOS. This is the ColorOS 5.2 version. And this is one of the more subjective areas of the phone. I'm not a fan of the ColorOS, let me put it out there. I am someone who wants something with a Google stamp on it, or at least give me an app drawer for God's sake. This doesn't have it. All the apps are laid on the home screen. Putting all the apps on the home screen triggers me, and the fact that I can do very little to make it look like mine, I just have to resort to a launcher. This time though, I dared to stick with it and not hide behind a launcher, and it was fine. I like the universal search with a single swipe down. I like the clean clock widget that comes stock. Icons have been made cleaner and flatter. The UI is obviously something that I'm not a fan of, but for the people who do, the UI is smooth. although there are tiny stutters that I can't seem to understand. Like whenever I pull down the notification panel, there is this stutter that makes me feel like the phone is slow, and I bring that up because it isn't. There are just some parts of the UI that for some reason haven't been optimized well, and I hope Realme does that very soon. Now Oppo or Realme was one of the first Android manufacturers to bring in gestures, and you find those here. The good thing is that Oppo had gotten gesture navigation pretty fine since the beginning, including a few variations that very few out there provide. I'm a big fan of the navigation gesture choices because I didn't opt for the default one. The home and the back gestures were fine for me, but I've never liked the swipe up and hold thing. It's just too much waiting for me. Now one of the options on the Realme 2 Pro is swiping up from the left, and that just makes it so much faster and easier for me. You have both fingerprint and face unlock. Both of them work just fine. I have been with the Vivo Nex for quite some time as my secondary phone, and it is very satisfying to have a traditional fingerprint scanner in your phone. It is a very fast fingerprint scanner too, and with that perfect a position, you will enjoy the experience for sure. The face unlock is also quite fine. Obviously in the dark areas you need the screen to be brighter, and you have an option for that, so it just turns up the brightness to full and shows you a wide screen so that the face is lit well. And I think the face unlock is good enough and a convenient option, although it's not as secure as the fingerprint scanner under. Going into settings, you get a lot of different modes. There is an advanced D&D mode called Quiet Mode. You get a game mode for an uninterrupted gaming experience, and there is a good number of gestures to do things faster on your phone. There still are a lot of problems too. For starters, the notification panel needs a lot of work. The panel itself needs to be optimized. As I said earlier, the notification grouping works, but once you expand them, you can't really go back, and it feels like an unfinished product with things getting stuck. To remove notifications too, you just can't swipe them out. So it becomes a two-step process where you swipe it to the left and then click the delete button. It sadly also just comes with Widevine L3 certification, so no HD streaming on things like Netflix. You do get Project Treble support, but no seamless update, which means that yes, your manufacturer supports Project Treble, which means your phone could get updated to the next version without having to change the ColorOS version on top. But since there is only one partition on this phone, this cannot happen seamlessly. Oppo has never been known to be good with updates. Realme is a new company, so maybe, just maybe, they might be good with this. Plus, Madhav Seth, the CEO of Realme, said in a video with Technical Guruji that they are working to make the OS even better than what the ColorOS is, and are trying to separate from ColorOS, at the same time want to become more developer friendly. And for that, the first thing that they should do is let people unlock the bootloader and release source codes. Oppo and Vivo both have had very bad reputation with source codes and with bootloader unlocking, and even the Realme 1 has had a very bad history with it. And I hope with Realme 2 Pro things change, and let's see